Dun, dun, dun. And we got sound. That's good. Sweet. Not much to talk about this week. I was sick all last week, so I didn't read a whole lot. Supposedly, there might be an update going on. Well, there's always an update going on, but let's see. Where's the sensor? Yep, looking dead in SEM rush. So kind of call it a wash there. Let's see. I thought I had some questions last week. No, nothing left from last week either. Cool. All right. Webinar's over. See you guys next week. Let's see. Let's more people roll in. Always questions start coming. Hey, Vinay, thank you very much. G-Man, how you doing, dude? Yeah, I don't know. The farmers around here have a process. So citrus, right? And once the trees stop producing the fruit in the way that they want to, or the way that Dole wants them, because Dole's the primary buyer out here, they let the trees die, and then they cut them down, and then they leave them in piles. And ultimately, at some point, it's usually they're sitting there for almost a year, drying out. And then they burn them. And I have a lot of fields around me. I am out in the country. And this year, seems like a lot of fields were getting burned. And I think what happened was all that smoke kicked in my allergies. And it was a lot, right? And then I got a sinus infection, and then that just took me. Last week, I was horrible. That was horrible last week. So I'm all hopped up on decongestants and everything else. Surprised I haven't dehydrated or all the stuff that I've been taking. But I'm on the other side of it, so that's good. All right, let's see. Talk about your SOP for content brief for supporting articles. How do you pick relevant topic than just Q&A and stuff? So I'm not a big content brief guy. I mean, I see the value of them for a writer, right? So if you don't tell them what you want, then you can't really be pissed off about what you get back, right? So that makes sense. So the idea of doing that for a content brief for a writer is actually good. I, however, have a decent relationship with the people that I buy writing from. So I just give them the primary keyword. I give them a couple example articles, and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. And so that's how I get them back, right? So when you say my SOP, I was like, I mean, what I just said is pretty much my SOP for the writer. So I don't hire and I refuse to pay for SEO content writers. Generally, that means that the content is crap. There are, certainly are a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, it's been my experience that if you pay anyone for SEO content, you're going to get junk that was SEO optimized. It wasn't written by a good writer. And when you get something written by a good writer, it already comes back. I mean, you can if you got a good writer, you put it in the phrase. And if you've used phrase before, it's a scoring system. Comes back like at 80% optimized already. They've written it well. They've got the citations in there, and you only have to do a little bit of work. And a really good writer, you can do that with ClearScope and have really decent grades. They have A, B, C, D in ClearScope. And, I get most of the stuff comes back at like a B+ level. And that's because the writers actually researched it and naturally added all that stuff that those tools are looking for. Okay, so I can't help you on the SOP part. For supporting content, though, the actual topics of those, my money pages are usually optimized for the head term. So if I'm trying to rank for roofing, for example, the page is optimized for roofing. And then I spin it with the city stuff, right? Especially if it's a math set. So if I'm looking at supporting content for that, I actually do a couple things. And one is there any other supporting services that help? So you have roofing, and then your supporting content would be roof inspection, roof replacement, roof repair. And those would actually support the primary roofing page because they're related services under the topic of roofing. And then you can go the other direction of roofing materials. So metal roofing, shake roofing, slate roofing, all that, right? And so you have that. And then you have the third way, especially for local, is the geo-relevance. And geo-relevance would be, those type of articles would be things to do in city, restaurants in city, coffee shops in city. And those are you're going to get a little bit of pushback on those because they're like, well, why do I want to do this? And you say it's local relevance, but how does it fit into my roofing site? And all it takes is a little bit of creative writing in the first paragraph. Like, our roofing contractors in Omaha are working very hard, and we like to reward them with meals at the end of the week. And here's our top 10 or top 5 restaurants in the city of Omaha. You know what I mean? So think about it like that, and you can have a little bit more fun with that, with those supporting articles. Hopefully that helps you out, Vinay, a little bit. Let's see, Eric, do you think adding a YouTube video on a city page moves the needle since Google owns YouTube? Same thing regarding the map. So the map I'll do first. I like putting the map on there. In particular, let's say I'm using like I have cities, and then I have tag pages. I don't know if I want to show you guys yet. It's still a test. No, I'm not going to show that yet. But anyway, so you have cities, and then you create supporting pages like Vinay's question for the neighborhood, for example, and then you embed your GMB map because it supports that neighborhood. I like doing that. If I have service areas and the map is not specifically in that service area, I'll embed the city map onto that. For that particular service area, I'll embed the related map to that on there. YouTube video is a little bit different. If you have a channel and you can use one of those services and push out a video real quick, like do a 200-word paragraph on the summarization of the page that it's going to go on, and then make one of those little text to audio videos with some images and stuff fly through there. And then put the URL to the page you're going to embed the video on YouTube. I mean, there's a backlink and you get a lot of trusted sources. And you can actually do some stuff if you're a GSA or SEO Autopilot user and hit that YouTube video and push that page up. So there is value in doing all that. The downside is you also have to mess around and you end up dealing with those clowns that are telling your clients, oh, your site's slow because page speed optimization score is so low. But if you take the video and the map off, your page speed op score is fine. So, I mean, you could put Google Tag Manager and your pages and wreck the core web vital scores. So just know that if you report core web vital stuff and then you probably don't want to be doing the YouTube and Google Map stuff. And if you don't report it and you're not really worried about it, I say use those and leverage them. Leon, what's up, man? Christoph, is ClearScope your alternative suggestion to services like Surfer? I replaced Surfer with ClearScope. Full disclosure, I tested Cognitive SEO's editor, Surfer, Phrase, ClearScope, InLinks, and I tested them all by themselves, and then I tested them in combinations. The Phrase to Surfer beat out Phrase to Cognitive, so I dumped Cognitive and went to Surfer. And then the Phrase to ClearScope beat out Surfer, and so I dumped Surfer and went to ClearScope. And then InLinks has always been at the end because it's a totally different system. But the price on the ClearScope is higher than Surfer. The one thing that I will say is I didn't use Surfer's on-page recommendations, all that SEO shit that they had in there. I thought it was horrible. And they had a whole lot of correlation data, but none of that was sorted based off of importance. So you still left you guessing. So if I had to guess anyway, then why was I going to pay for an SEO tool that was just guessing? And then they had that keyword grouping thing that they came out with. That was all right, but it wasn't worth keeping a subscription to Surfer. So I didn't lose anything by switching from Surfer to ClearScope. The downside is if you're trying to scale, like we don't do traditional content marketing where we just write for the sake of writing. All of our content is actually very intentional. So we don't have the volume that a lot of people have. I mean, I'm working with another agency and a client, and they're doing like 30 articles a month. 30 articles a month at ClearScope costs us a couple $100. So we don't. So Surfer in that case would be a better option for some people just because of the price tag. Right. I prefer ClearScope. ClearScope is using IBM Watson and Google NLP API versus Surfer, which they've only disclosed the Google NLP API. They claim they have some of their own stuff in the back, but I haven't really seen any proof of that. However, it does beat Cognitive in their recommendations when combined with Phrase. So yeah, that too. Jay Paul, hey, how you doing? Awesome, Vinay. Glad that helped out. Let's see. How do you go about measuring the value of PR services like Magic? Clients chasing COK. We've done a PR. Where are the results? So, two types of PRs, right? The one that typically SEOs do, which is for link building, and then the one that public relations people do, which is for public relations. If you're using a service like Cision, you're going to pay $1,000 to maybe even $3,000 for a press release, and you're going to get maybe 150, 200 links, especially for a know-nothing company, right? I don't mean that to be insulting. It's just people, legit reporters and stuff don't want to write about know-nothing companies, and so all you get is the automatic distribution. In that report, some of your automatic distribution is actually pretty good sites, and then about half of the API sites that just kind of everyone gets. Versus a Magic PR, you're going over there solely for the purpose of getting link building, and if you're smart, you're link building to multiple clients, or at least yourself and the client you're writing for. Roofing, stand that as an example. If I do one for a roofing company, I'll also put a link for my agency in there. And then you want to embed that local map. The map actually does help. And then use the Brock Misner. If you've taken his course, he's got a shortened URL version that Madge tested that works like gangbusters for ranking maps. And then you just give them the report to the client, be like, look, we listened to you all these places. from our press release. We've gotten you, the purpose of this press release is not necessarily to get traffic and exposure. We're doing it for link building, to build authority to your site, and to also, air quotes, pillow the other links you might be doing. So you're using PBNs or using outreach, that kind of stuff that, some people would, oh, you're Black Hat. You can hide all that inside of press release stuff, and make it a little bit easier, harder for people to pull that stuff out. At the end of the day, it's kind of, a press release is really a whole lot of fluff. Even with those links, that's 0 + 0 = 0. So you got to if I do a press release, I'll find 10 good sites. I have kind of my own little mini network. So those 10 sites are typically mine. And I'll boost those up. I'll build links to the backlinks. If I'm doing like a Magis thing, I'll do the same thing. But I mean, you gotta keep an eye on those services. Magis service for a while. I think he's got someone else now, but a lot of those links are all 302 redirects. So because that service puts tracking on their links when they syndicate out, and they use their own domain to do that. But I know he's got a new provider now. He said that they're not doing that as much. So you got to, filter that out when you're doing the boosting stuff. And then just understand that 6 months to a year is probably all you're going to get out of those links. That's standard link decay. That's why you want to do PRs once a quarter, if not once a month, depending on what you're doing. Hopefully that helps. Tanya, my press release was published on 50 websites. Most of the pages are indexed. A month later, the pages are still out there, but not in the index. Do I need to push them back? Nope. Google knows about them. You're getting the credit for them. As with all backlinks, tier ones, like if you got a stupidly awesome link from a legit Forbes article, like a legit Forbes journalist quoted you, not one that you paid for, legit, then those I would say, yeah, go ahead and worry about it. But the rest of them, once Google knows about them, crawls them, they'll give it credit, and then they just clean out their index a little bit. That link power stays with you, so you're all right. Let's see. Found a domain with lots of good backlinks that was used for a churn and burn casino website. Can you use for the original topic after doing this and that? It can, but it's a lot more work if you find one than finding one that hasn't been roasted. That would be that's your biggest fear there is if it's still roasted. You can check to see if I'm assuming it's expired and dropped, but you can check to see if it still happens to be lingering around in the search results, and then do that domain.com search, domain.com. If it's the home, and if it's still in the index and it's the first listing, then it's probably good. Then do the same thing, domain space com. If it's still there, then it's probably still good, but that only works if it's still in the index. If it got de-indexed for any reason, you might have some problems. So I'd be a little bit wary about that. Let's see. Client are using LinkedIn or email outreach to acquire new clients. Most of your prospects from an inbound strategy. Most of my prospects are referrals or self-referrals. So YouTube does good. Get a lot. I get a couple here and there from speaking, talking on podcasts, that kind of stuff. I think it's more of a resonation thing, right? Because we all offer SEO services. SEO is on page, off page, and some technical work. At the end of the day, we should all be technically doing all the same things. Some of us might be pressing our luck a little bit more with, some hidden, some on-page tricks or some link building and stuff like that. That would be a differentiator. But for the most part, we're all offering rankings inside of the search engine. with the idea that you rank more, you get more traffic, and potentially you can get more leads. So the differentiator is really how you sell SEO, and that's how I sell SEO. I'm offering you're coming to me to get rankings, and in hopes that rankings will get you traffic. And that's what I provide. I don't offer leads to anyone. I mean, that's your ultimate goal, right? As a business owner, is to get leads from your search engine optimization. But at the end of the day, if I don't have control of your website, I don't have control of all the CRO stuff, I don't have control of your tracking and all that, and that's all part of your business stuff. And you just come to me and say, I want SEO, I'm going to sell you rankings. And the rankings, assuming that I do good job and pick good keywords, will get traffic. And after that, it's on you for the conversion stuff. Good clients I help out with conversion stuff. But in that whole process, Leanne, everything I just explained to you, that's my differentiator. It's my unique selling proposition. I'm not one of those clowns running around, I'm going to get you more leads and you're going to have great business. That's what they want. But what you're doing as an SEO is ranking their website and their maps. And because it rankings and assuming conversions are there on the website and or the maps, you're going to generate phone calls. That's the end of it. As an SEO, you don't have any control over the sales process. You don't have any control over the quality of the leads. All you did was get rankings and traffic, and that rankings and traffic on their website converted to phone calls. You do a good job, pick the right rankings, you're going to get the right traffic, they're going to get the right phone calls. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is getting rankings and traffic. And any other, in my opinion, that's my unique selling proposition. So that's how I get referrals. Kind of resonate with my way of thinking, honestly, straight up front, and it works for me. I have tried the LinkedIn thing, but there's so much junk. I don't know who's teaching all these people this LinkedIn crap. And that's that buries legitimate contacts on LinkedIn nowadays. Hopefully I've seen that slow down a lot in the SEO space, but there's still a progressive amount of that there. The best part for me that I've seen on LinkedIn is actually just, doing the post and offering some value and stuff like that. And occasionally people will reach out to you. And in the email, I mean, we did it for a while, but it's really hard to one, get read. And then, since it's so hard to get read, you got to email at scale, and then you fry domains, and you have all that whole process around it too. So, I won't say it's impossible, Leon, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's probably better ways to attract clients versus going out there and seeking them. I do want to find some direct mail stuff like the value cards and all that, and then test all that stuff out. That works for home services. So I want to try it out for our own client getting as well and see how it works. Let's see. The trouble is with client corp selling PR stuff is tricky. It can look horrible. We need to be careful how to describe a service if it's a long run. Yep, I've done press releases for the Gerber Corporation, in particular their clothing line area. And it's, you come up with the press release, they say, oh no, it's going to say X, Y, and Z. Okay, you write it. That's how I started taking care of that. I was like, you write your press release how you want to write it. I'm going to send it how you have it sent. In regards to like look and where it's coming from, you just kind of have that out front and be like, look, especially if you're doing a corporate client, you want to be using Syzian anyway, not necessarily a magic one. You want to, but they're corporate clients and they're going to pay. If you're doing enough of those, you can get a reseller account at Syzian and get your cost down. My cost I negotiated a couple of years back, and I can send one at Syzian, the US only, web only distribution for about $200. And if you want to go and do some more of those where you can get into where they actually syndicate out to the mailing list of the journalists, like they have the journalist email and they send out the PR to them, you're going to pay more for that. So yeah, but those corporate clients, they have bigger pockets and they understand that stuff a little bit better than a local business, and they'll get more value out of that than a local business too. Yeah, don't want to cough in your guys' ear again. Let's see. Let me check the Zoom. No questions in the Zoom. We're rolling right on. Let's see. Any other questions? We're doing good. Any other questions from the Zoom? Tough crowd today. Let's see. What is your opinion about link relevance? Do you care the source of the domain, top of the page, or only anchors? I'm only worried about the anchors, Tanya. I mean, if I can get a backlink, you're a local roofer, for example, and you can get a backlink from an electrician, a local plumber, all those other home services, you can build like a little network. That would be really valuable. But at the end of the day, as a student of Greg Morrison and some of his testing, as someone who listens to or has read a lot of the Jimmy Kelly stuff and known about semantics and some of the stuff that Corey has done, you kind of put two and two together, and you also consider that Google can't read. So if Google can't read, what good is it if you have links on a page with article of roofing, if say that roofing page has been optimized? Those links aren't optimized, so Google has a harder time determining the relevance, or it says it's not very relevant to roofing, for example. So what do they have left? Well, they have the title of your backlink, and the title of your backlink is the anchor text. And so if the anchor text is on point, then it doesn't matter what the hell the rest of the article says. Well, that's the title of the backlink. That's kind of how I go with that. How long are your engagements usually? Well, mine are typically, I will tell you, Leon, the last 4 clients that I've signed, 2 consulting and 2 agency, they already came pre-sold. So I've had, my longest client I've had is 3 years now. My longest consulting client is almost 2 years now. So you provide value, they're going to stay. And if they know you're going to provide value, they're going to come pre-sold, which is cool. Saves you a lot of work. Do you have an SEO course? I have sort of an SEO course. School me. Now, SEOintel.com. SEOintel.com. Let me share it in here. I say it's sort of an SEO course because it's actually, the group was designed around SEO testing. And in full disclosure, I'm doing a lot less publishing of SEO tests in there because we're doing a lot less of those single variable tests. I mean, there's only so many times you can say H1 times vital to SEO. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. I think we've got that down, right? So I'm doing more testing. The testing is just taking longer because I'm doing it, one, on live sites, and then two, we're testing the application of a lot of things. Like, Brock Misner, I mentioned that shortened URL. We're testing that. I'm testing title tags and testing the semantic application of entities inside of content. I'm testing a lot of things that just, frankly, they take a lot of time, but they're really stupid valuable, and they get good. So far, a lot of them are getting good results. So our publishing level is down in SEO Intel. That said, I have my schema courses in there, my core courses in there. Core has got to get updated. And then we're building out an on-page course, or I'm building out an out-page course that'll wrap around our clicky. I created a SEO campaign for local people inside of clicky, or ClickUp, and I want to create, just all the videos around that. So you can just go in there, and if you're doing local business, for example, you can sign up for SEO Intel, get the ClickUp, and then you have your whole year's SEO campaign knocked out, or not knocked out, but lined out for you. And you can just go and do those things, or hire out those specific things, right? And then you'll be all set. So that's where SEO Intel is at. We also have the Discord, the free Discord, and we have a paid version. So if you're just kind of want to hang out, it's not a chatty crowd. There's a link in the chat. It's not a real big chatty crowd, but it's it'll grow as we go. I think one of the biggest mistakes was we had the Skype group, and then we moved to Slack, and now we're on Discord, but I was always engaging with other people in other people's groups. And, if you can get all of me in other people's groups, then why would I join your group? Kind of perspective. So I'm a lot less active in a lot of other groups now and spend more time in there. And I answer pretty much everybody's questions, or I have some kind of input on it. So join up, sign up. It's free. Alex Nichols, do you index the author pages of singer author websites? Currently I do not, but there's a test going around based off of some information that was given at PubCon from Gary Elias that would indicate that you want to have an author bio page. And I'm going to duplicate that test. It's from a mastermind, so that's why I can't say. It's just be fair to their mastermind, right? But I'm going to duplicate that test, and I'll publish the results in the SIA membership. So to answer your question, Alex, I would strongly consider doing it now. Even on Digital Ear, I always had that Seattle SEO expert page with my name on it. Well, I'm going to change that up a little bit to highlight the author thing. I don't know if I'm going to make an author page or use WordPress's built-in author taxonomy. I guess either one I can get away with. If I use WordPress, I just have to make another template in Oxygen to handle that particular taxonomy, but it shouldn't be a big deal. And that'll also highlight my articles that you're writing. It gets a little bit redonkulous though. However, let's say it ranks when people start citing you and stuff, it builds links to your author page. And then all those links will be passed, or that link juice, as it were, whatever that imaginary link juice is, will get passed to your articles that you wrote. So there is still some value from doing it. Not a total waste of time. Let's see. I tried to push Google's own SERP in the index so far as any luck because I host on Amazon 3, try to learn my own domain. Their own SERP is if you're doing like an iframe, check the robots. A lot of that is actually they block it. They got some weird thingy over there where it's not a it doesn't they tell Googlebot don't crawl the search results or something like that. It's weird. So I know a few people that have tried that, find the relevant search results and put that in. Especially after they had that search engine API and feature that you can add to your websites. Once they killed that, a lot of people were playing around with that. How do we leverage that a little bit more? So good luck with that. I'd be interested, Tanya, to see how it works out for you. What's the minimum charge I can do to make an article fresh for Google? Existing article rewrites? How do you, if you're gonna, depending on your writing level, I probably wouldn't do one of those for less than $100. If you're going to do the AI thing and the person knows that you're going to do AI thing and you can scale that cheaply, then, $25, $50 would be a good one, because you still have to edit it. Even though you use the AI, right? You still got to edit it. Dear God, I hope you're editing that stuff or reading it at least. So yeah, but if you're going to do a complete rewrite, especially a long form article, define how much you're going to change and then work from there. If you're changing the whole thing, probably charge them like it was a brand new article. If you're just rewriting and then adding some new little bit of information and stuff, $100 for a good long form rewrite. That should be fun. Oh, not an iframe. I took the titles and snippets from the SERP and made a page with them. That'd be interesting to see how that works out, Tanya. Just all it has is the list, right? Titles and the snippets, titles and meta description from the search on a page, and then you put it on Amazon. Could be Amazon. Try it on Azure. It could be Amazon. I know that Amazon was indexing less. Indexing became less when all those white hat wine babies were crying because people figured out how to rank Amazon S3 pages really nice. And so all of them bitches got on to Google, and so Google reduced the Amazon S3. Not necessarily hurtful to Amazon because it's not what the ranking pages was not what S3 was for in the first place. But still, they didn't have to be crybabies. It could just be better SEOs, and that would have solved the problem. So try Azure. I heard rumors that Azure was indexing just fine. So, and that shouldn't take you. I think there's free too. So, well, practically free. Let's see. Is there any way to change maybe 5 to 10% of a page in a publish update? Depends on if you're using WordPress or not. Well, depends on your CMS. Update the publish date. If you do WordPress, there is a date published and then there's a date updated inside the backend. Otherwise, you unpublish it, change the published dates inside of WordPress, and then publish it again, and that'll update the date on there. And then if you're doing HTML, you can go in there and change the date published, date updated inside of the head. So at your whim. I'm pretty sure you can do that with a lot of them. Keep in mind, though, that there used to be a plugin called FreshPub, written by Jerry West. He did that, but that freshness, that published stuff doesn't work nearly as well anymore by just changing the date. You've got to update the content. And it's my consulting clients that have the most success with updating content will actually unpublish the old one, 301 the URL to the new one, and they got to do that because there's dates actually inside of the URL strings, and Google is rewarding them very handsomely for doing that. So it's the same content, it's just moved to another page, 301, and then updated for relevancy, versus just changing the date. Even when Jerry's FreshPub update or FreshPub plugin came out, changing the dates alone, doesn't necessarily mean that Google's going to show you your content, especially if you're not necessarily in one of those keywords that requires freshness. Have you ever tried GitHub for link building, as in creating content on GitHub with links? Just wondering. I have. You can actually create pages on GitHub. Like you can drop all the HTML and the page will show up. I haven't tried it with just using a repository like you would do with, say, Pastebin. You create a repository and make it public, and then in Pastebin, you can drop a set of URLs and just use some markup and make them all clickable and ta-da, link building. I haven't tried it that. I don't necessarily know that I want to do that on GitHub anyway. It's because it's such a premier platform, so I wouldn't want to trash it versus what a Pastebin is. Pastebin is pretty much everybody's junk, right? So there was a course, Christopher, what's his nuts? I forget his last name. He created a course about cloud stuff, and that was before Yax was released. So you had Mega Cloud Stacker that was out. And then this Chris guy came out with this other course about using even more cloud sites for link building. And then Mega Cloud Stacker was born, and he started adding cloud sites. And people were bringing from, that Chris guy's course and other places, and Yax was adding those. And GitHub is one of those that was on Chris's course. Amazon Cloud, Azure, GitHub, Cloudflare Workers was another site you can make pages on. There's a whole bunch of them, right? And what's cool about GitHub is there's actually other services that are sistered to GitHub, and you can publish in GitHub, and it'll throw out to these other services too. I've seen a bunch of those. I haven't tested any of those, but GitHub seems powerful enough that I wouldn't want to just put junk on it. Hopefully that helps. What are you doing, Christoph? What are you going to do with it? Let's see. I hate the lag. The lag creates moments of silence. Question in here. Let's see. A partner and I are starting a new digital marketing agency that is focused on law firms. Any suggestions on how to find new clients? Law firms. If you have a good network of people around you that will give you referrals, mainly you want to go and find people who are offering just PPC services because law firms spend a lot of money in PPC stuff, especially those PI guys. And partner with them to provide SEO services. I know a guy who was only doing PPC for the longest time for lawyers. Like, hell, I met him. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. I met him probably 4 years ago. And he just started offering SEO services to his PI lawyers. I mean, they were spending like 2, 3, 400,000 a month in PPC stuff. So there's certainly a bunch of those PPC guys that are out there that will, share referrals with you. Remember, that's two-way street though. So if you get some people who want to do PPC, you send them that way, and then vice versa. And that's how that works. The other way for lawyers specifically is probably going to be, those guys it's a different breed. So you got to reach them in a different way. And a lot of people want to provide local services to lawyers, right? So everyone and their dog trying to get cosmetic surgeons, dentists, and lawyers. They're all the dudes with the money, dudes and dudettes. So you got to go out and do something unique. When I say unique, I would actually consider direct mail, lumpy mail, putting stuff like that together would help you stand out. There's a service that does video box, I think is the name of it. Let me look it up here real quick. You do video box, and it's literally a box with the video in it. Yeah, here it is, video box. There's a couple of them, couple services that do that. I mean, those will make you stand out from the rest of the crowd. Like we had who asked the question about LinkedIn and cold email? Yeah, that's how you stand out from those guys. And those in that market, you're going to need to ask for a lot of money, right? So and then your profit margins, depending on how good you are, could be pretty good. So drop in a couple $100 for a video box to get that made. Let's see how much these are made. Let's see how much this one is. I'm gonna go to this one. Sorry, let me share the screen so you guys can see. This one, you get a free sample. Yay, I want a free sample. Let's get out of their ad. Well, for other questions and pricing. Well, if you can't tell me your pricing, then I'm gonna help you. Let's see. Yeah, see, this one's sharp. Like if you got that, you're probably gonna respond. I'm doing this one's nice, right? Simple. It's just a cover. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Calendar, that'd be kind of cool.
What's in there, Clint? A tablet?
It's just a little screen.
Probably some cheap Android thing.
Yeah. Well, that's not cheap. Yeah, but it's just a little tiny screen. And they're real thin. Let's see, multi-page pair. You don't need that. Video business card. This would be enough to get you started. See, they're a little bit expensive, but I can guarantee you there's no one handing these out to people right now. So you send this in a lumpy mail. Nice little case study of how you helped a lawyer or whatever and ranked them and ask him for a call. You get 30 of those made, you mail them out. And if you convert, let's say 2 at $5,000 each, I mean, you've paid for that in the first month with your profit margin. So it's not horrible. There's a couple of cheaper services though, so look around. That's how I'd go after them. I want to do the cosmetic surgery market. Those guys don't hire anyone who's never done cosmetic surgeon SEO. So you legit got to go, here's this website I did, and here's all the keywords I'm ranking, and I understand your market, and there's all content and stuff, and here's how I'm doing wonderful. They're really savvy, right? Because they're just like lawyers, they get hit up all the time. But those medical people, for whatever reason, I think they just get marketing a little bit better than legal. And maybe lawyers, the kind of longer client retention and stuff like that, they don't have to generate as many clients as, say, a cosmetic surgeon or a dentist. Are usually one-off or every 6 months kind of things, versus a lawyer where they can, case can potentially drag on for a while, then getting the retainers, and then finally the settlement money, and it's the different client process. Anyway, so if I was going to do this for cosmetic surgeons, for example, then I would make the case study site and get all that rankings, and then probably get one of these video things and send that out to them. The other way is what I had dentist clients up in Washington when I was up there, and they said straight up, if you want more dentist clients, you got to start going to dentist conventions and talking to them there, because they're not, that particular crowd is not out answering emails for SEO services. So you got to, essentially, where I get back into that, set yourself apart. This is kind of how you do it. You got to start right from the beginning with your marketing. Let's see. Christoph, yep. Experiments in manual posting. The entry point seem high. He's talking about GitHub, making it hard to spam, which is good. So these places to build out. That's correct. And there's another one too, is that Alibaba. They had a cloud service. And that one was really hard to even get to work. So if you can get Alibaba working for you, then you're aces. Anytime, Raymond. This is a good question. It's a really good question. Let's see. Try not to get distracted by work chat over here. I don't see any other questions in the YouTubes. So again, nothing going on with the sensors. People are crying, their sites are down. As always, manually check your rank tracker first. If Google changes the HTML, it screws up a lot of those rank trackers. It's typically when I see those sensors kick off too. SEMrush's sensor is pretty much dead today, 1.8 out of 10. So nothing's going on in regards to them seeing changes. So yeah, highly likely that, something's going on to your website. It might be a fluke to address. Other than that, I think this week is going to be pretty good for the SEO world. I think there's an update that typically comes out in March. Let's see, Google update. But we did have that one beginning the March 1st day. That was kind of whack up. Let's see. I'll just check real quick. Update rankings list, March 23rd. No, it's not consistent. Yes, I think you're all right. April is not consistent. May is not consistent. Oh, I say not consistent. I mean, that's kind of how I could pretty much predict the Black Friday thing, damn near to the day. Yeah, so I think we're going to be all right for the month of March. Tax season, if you guys aren't done that yet, remember you got like 30 days. And if you have your money in that one bank that just got beat up, don't go over there freaking out. And they're going to FDIC insures deposits up to $250,000. Anyway, and then for those people that have more than $250,000, they're going to pay you out of some magic fund, that some magic fairy. My guess is they just printed some more money, but they're going to give you your money. So don't go over there freaking out and don't jump on the hype. There's a lot of people scaring people intentionally. I think it's kind of horseshit. So we've been through this before in the United States. These companies, acting the ass. I mean, spending all this money on all deposits, and then when people start getting their deposits, essentially that's what happened. The tech space, all these startups and everything had a whole bunch of money in their banks, and they're like, "Oh, we need the money now because we need our money." And that particular bank had all that money otherwise locked up in other things, so they didn't have all that free cash, so they had to sell off some of their stuff. And because they had to sell off their securities and bonds at a lower reduced rate, eventually that was unsustainable. So then the government took over the bank and essentially shut it down, collapsed the bank. Again, we've had that happen before in the United States. Some people are all, as always, well, if you had regulation, you wouldn't have that. And regulation is just another way for the government to have their fucking hand in your pocket. And the people that are ends up paying that are you and I, not even the bank. So that is what it is. Again, FDIC is securing your money with that loan. Everything up to, I don't know how many people know this or even read the signs when they go in. It says FDIC insured. Your deposits are covered up to $250,000. But if you have $3 million in a bank and they drop it, you're only going to get $250,000 back unless somebody does some magic to you. But for the most part, most people, I mean, even speaking for me, I don't have $250,000 in the bank. So if the bank has issues, and I'm good because I got this FDIC protection. So short of the government going bankrupt and not paying FDIC protections, and you're going to be all right. It's not a panic-worthy event. And I rambled long enough to get a question from Christoph. We'll have this one be the last one. I haven't heard from Pastebin. What the heck, isn't it? It's essentially an online clipboard service. You want to call it that? Pastebin. A lot of people put code in there. If you're really dumb, then you put your passwords to your, all your websites and banking information in there. Craig Campbell has a part of his presentation where he's showing it, where he was doing link building by going through Pastebin and finding people who put their website logins in here inside of Pastebin, and then going in and logging in and building links on their websites. That was in it was much evil or nasty Craig Campbell. He doesn't do that anymore. But I mean, that's kind of the level of security over at Pastebin. So don't go in there and just drop your shit in there and think you're safe. But you can do like share code in there, use some markup and stuff. You just pick the syntax highlighting. So let's say you're going to do HTML or you're going to do Java or whatever, Python, and you're going to share it with your buddies and stuff. It's a really quick, fast way to share that code across each other. You're not doing something like turning on collaborators in GitHub, for example. So it's a decent site. Again, you can do some backlinking stuff, not so much anymore than what it used to be, because as with all things, they kind of got flamed out. But still, it's a decent. I won't say tier 1, but you can use that for some link boosting or kind of as a referring domain builder if you want to do that. You know what I mean? Remember to hit mute that time. And coughing your guys' ears. I can't wait for the heat to come. The heat comes and then I'm good. till next spring. We don't really have a spring here in Yuma. It's like 80s today, and then all of a sudden it's 105. So straight to summer, which is awesome. All right, YouTube. Thank you very much for watching SEO This Week, episode 26. Appreciate all of your questions. Hit the like, subscribe, share button, hit the notifications if you want to know when I go live. You all know that I don't pre-make these and trigger those notifications early and get you on waiting lists and stuff. Probably if I was a better host, I would do that, but just too damn lazy. Otherwise, join SEOintel.com. Come sign up, join our private group side, and then you can hang out in the Zoom afterwards and ask all the questions you didn't want to ask in front of God and everybody on the YouTubes. We'll see you guys